exactly what we were going to do. All right. I was sitting here twiddling my thumbs and not getting organized, just doing jabbing. So
John, she had given us in our tomorrow meeting, oh, you got it.
yeah. Okay. So would you all kindly stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
With the exception of Porter McKinnon.
It's actually on the phone.
Pardon me? Is that on the phone? Okay, so all the aldermen are present either in person or on the phone. Let the record show. Somewhere she gave me for this. Boy, talk about getting senile. He'll come again. I want to read the procedure for the hearing, just so that everybody understands the order by which we will go. Anthony Simonetti, Alderman Anthony Simonetti, is hereby appointed the marshal, the timekeeper, or something like that. But when you read these things, you usually go, we're going to be liberal. I mean, if we fail, if we cut you off too quickly, let us know. We'll adjust it. But it should try to stick to target 5 minutes. If we have to go over, just we'll tell you. We'll let you know. Tell you to summarize. Speaking order will be determined by the order in which you signed up, and everybody that wishes to speak has to sign up with the clerk. And I think there's a certain amount of decorum. We all want to conduct this public hearing as a formal occasion, requiring courteous attention to other speakers, regardless of their views. And if you can help it, I know sometimes you just, it happens automatically, but try not to applaud, or just drag things out. And, sometimes some people just spout off, whether you agree or disagree, give the rest of us the courtesy of listening to the speaker and not deter them from what they got to say. Purpose of this hearing is for the Board of Aldermen to listen, not for the Board of Aldermen to talk, not for the Board of Aldermen to engage in answering questions or discussions or so forth, but to listen to what you have to say about the budget. So it's all about the budget. And you have copies of the budget. Donna, do you have copies of the budget?
There's copies on the table.
If anybody doesn't have one, would like one, please come up and get one. That is a reflection of the budget as it stands in the process, and then following the Board of Apportionment and Taxation's action on the budget. So it's the latest. It shows you what the mayor recommended, shows you what the Board of Apportionment and Taxation recommended, and then the hearing is based on they recommended the mayor's budget was passed forward. So comments will be either one of them will be appropriate because they're the same. If another speaker's made your point, certainly you're free to indicate your point, or if you agree with somebody, just say, I agree with them. Or make your own point, it's up to you. So I don't think there's any need to say any more. Anybody got any questions about the procedure? No? Okay, then Donna, would you start calling the names, and when you're called, please come up to the center over here, state your name and address for the record. And there's a microphone there, make sure you're heard, and let's go ahead.
Kathleen Yolis.
Before I start, I just want to tell you that I agree with everything Ken's going to say. I haven't heard it yet, but I know I'll agree. Good evening, members of the Board of Aldermen. I would first like to thank the Mayor and the Board of Aldermen for their support and collaborative efforts with our Board of Education. The Mayor's recommended allocation to our budget will be a big help in what we need. And in speaking of needs, I want to add the following. When I taught in elementary school in Shelton, there were a series of lessons that were taught about needs and wants. As I look to the audience, I have a two former students' parents, and she can attest that I did teach these lessons. All right. And I taught about needs and wants. It was important for children to know at a very young age that they can't get everything they may see or want. That was in the old days. I don't know, nowadays it doesn't seem so much. We, the Board of Education, in concert with our superintendent, his central office leadership team, have worked diligently and transparently to prepare a fiscally sound budget based on needs. Wants are always welcomed, but we recognize that comes at a time in the future when the economy is more plentiful. The pandemic created a very difficult time post-recovery era for all, but especially impacted our children. They lost positive social and emotional growth as well as educational growth. The superintendent and our finance director have alerted all as to the surmounting costs of our special education this year. This is something we cannot totally plan for as new students move into our city with high cost special ed needs, the word needs, that are mandated by the state. We have no crystal ball to prepare for these costs and would never come to you saying, we anticipate $2 million extra in special ed services. Please give it to us. We wouldn't and we couldn't do that. Children coming into school at a preschool age of 3+ years are so much more unique than the olden days of my time of teaching. They have diagnoses that weren't heard of years ago. And these are so much more complex in providing for their educational needs. It is important to note that all children have been impacted by the pandemic, and many others have issues with anxiety and stress. If you need corroboration, talk with our educators and support staff, or better yet, visit our schools and classrooms to better understand what I'm speaking about. As our governing board, you have a huge responsibility to plan for the needs of our city. And as the Board of Ed, we have a huge responsibility to plan for the needs of our students. Together, it is our responsibility. Please consider providing an educational budget that supports and assists these needs. Needs are those things that are necessary and most important. And that is exactly what our education budget reflects. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ken Sharonich.
I feel a lot of pressure that happens. But I want to state for the record that I agree with everything that Mrs. Yolis just said. And I have to move the mic up.
Who's up top?
I first want to begin to thank you for all your service to the city, the dedication that you do for our taxpayers, our city, our school system. We know that you are all volunteers in your position. Although elected officials, you're volunteers, and the countless hours that you put towards this work is important to us, and I want to thank you. I speak to you tonight not only as our superintendent of schools, but but as a proud parent and fellow taxpayer and proud citizen of this great city of Shelton. You already know about our budget requests for the Board of Education. And we appreciate the generous proposal that the mayor has given us. As indicated in our budget request, as well as over the continuous conversations that we have had individually, collectively, through email, through phone call, we are all worried and concerned about the unexpected costs hidden on the city, and particularly the school system. A lot of these costs are associated with special education. To date, as of today, the records today, 91 students who receive special ed services have moved into the city of Shelton after July 1st of the start of this school year. This has caused nearly a $2 million deferment of funded costs in other areas that we now need to shift to cover the growing cost of special education. These costs have impacted our ability to properly fund our school system. I am hoping through our continued collaboration and communication that we can develop a manner in which the city can provide funding for these unexpected costs. As I'm sure you're reading in the paper, many municipalities, many other school systems are being faced with special ed costs, and they are all developing creative ways on how they can work together to defer the costs and develop systems for success. I am very hopeful and encouraged that we will continue to meet and develop a system together where we can make sure that the school system is properly funded as more and more students move into our city. As we've proven in our record with this current Board of Education, we do not want funding that we will use and appropriate in other areas. We want funding to cover the cost of our kids. And as we've demonstrated in the past 2 years, funding that has been not spent has been returned to the city. So we want to continue that positive relationship. We want to work together to establish some system that the city can ensure the cost of the special ed as we've indicated in our budget requests. I look forward to our continued conversations and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Jim.
Monica Peterson?
Point of order. Mr. President, should they not say their name and their address for the record?
Yeah, did you say your name?
I'm sorry, I did not.
Yeah,
So for the
thank
record,
you.
Ken Seritage, 27 Lucille Drive.
We'll get that publicized. I'm sure you appreciate it.
Thanks.
Maybe, excuse me, Mr. Smith, maybe considering superintendent of schools, maybe we can state it for the record, but not put it in the minutes. I would ask that be done. Thank you.
Monica Peterson, 10 Brook Pine Drive. And as a parent of 2 children who have gone through the Shelton school system, and as a former teacher in another school district, I've been following education rather closely. And I can see that throughout the state and the country, children have been affected by the pandemic, and in particular, children with special needs. And so I can see why the costs have gone up. So I hope that you will follow the advice of the 2 previous speakers and help fund the regular education, because the special education costs are kind of carved into stone. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Suzanne? Adam?
No, it's counterproductive. I'm taking off my mask. So, but hello, my name is Suzanne. Aiden, Adon, tomato, whatever you call me, I will answer to. I married into that name. Thank you so much. I live on 23 Colony Street. And I'm sorry I'm a little tardy. I wish I could have heard the speakers before me, because I might be beating a dead horse here. But the reason I came today, and I made sure I came down here, is because I think that we are in a crisis in this town with education. I think that a lot of the rising costs, especially with our special education population, is not something that the school district is able to anticipate. I have 3 children who are in the Shelton School District. All 3 of my children are special needs, but that does not define them. They are wonderful, unique human beings. I have everywhere from a son who is twice exceptional with a very high IQ to a child that has a problem learning his words, and he's working on that. And I think that, you know, we need to fund the general education in this town because all of our learners are important. My children go to Sunnyside School. I have twins in kindergarten, and the classes at Sunnyside in the kindergarten have almost 30 children in those classes. Have you ever been in a classroom teaching 35-year-olds? It is not easy. And it's not just, it's a disservice to every child. And no matter, we have some wonderful teachers in this town. I just saw on Facebook and in our newspaper, the accolades for one of the teachers at Sunnyside. Sunnyside is a blue ribbon school. We're also proposing to build condos right in the neighborhood of Sunnyside. That is going to increase our numbers at Sunnyside. We need more teachers in that school. We need bodies. Every time we flat fund education in this town, we are actually taking away from our student populations. I have seen, for the years that I have been back in Connecticut and residing in Shelton, I have seen programs which were considered exceptional be torn apart to the point where we're getting cited by the state. And if you don't know what I'm referencing our pre-K program. And we need to service all of our learners in town. I appreciate your time. I'm a parent, I was a teacher myself. And I just want to say that it's very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Sir.
Nobody else
No,
wishes-
no one further.
nobody else wishes to speak? Nobody else wishes to speak? Nobody else wishes to speak? Okay, then, if there's no one wishes to speak, I think we heard everybody. So a motion to adjourn the public hearing will be in order.
So we'll.
Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. The public hearing is adjourned at 7:15. Thank you all very much.